Is astrology a guide to aid us in mastering the universe? This is the Cosmic Community Podcast with Galactic Ambassador Stacey Dredd. Hey everyone, thanks for being tuned in to KPOV 88.9 FM, your high desert community radio in Bend, Oregon. I hope you're having a good day. This is Stacey Dredd, Galactic Ambassador in the Cosmic Community. That's our astrology program here, Tuesdays, 4:30 to 5 p.m., where we dive into the week's planetary and lunar influences, chat about how we may be able to live within the cycles of the universe to create a more benevolent life for all. So I hope that you are enjoying this last little bit of summer that we have available for us. The last month of the season always feels like you have to hurry to get things done. And there's definitely a lot of that energy in the skies. This week, we have, of course, our big blue moon. That's our full moon in Pisces. That is on August 30th. And then Uranus stationed retrograde on August 28th. And Venus stationing direct on September 3rd. Those are all things that are happening this week that we'll talk about. And then we're going to sort of jump into the rest of September. We have Jupiter stationing retrograde starting next week. And then we'll quickly come upon our new moon in Virgo and then be shifting into Libra season. So we'll chat all about that today. So, blue moon, that's an old farmer's almanac term, if you didn't know that. That is when there are two full moons within the same calendar month. The second one is always called the blue moon. And this is our full moon in Pisces. This is happening at 7 degrees of Pisces. And the moon is conjunct Saturn for this one. So a little bit layered. So just to kind of draw it all back, the blue moon is also this time around a super moon. And the super moon happens when the moon is at its closest point in the orbit to Earth. So that's why it looks bigger and it appears brighter. It actually is like a certain percentage. If I made up a number, I would be making up a number, but it is a certain percentage bigger around supermoons because it physically is closer to us. Its orbit is not a perfect circle shape. It's actually more like an egg shape. And so when the moon is closer to Earth, I've actually seen some like beachcomber parties going on and other types of events along the ocean because these super moons bring in these super tides and it brings in special things like the agates and stuff that you can find over on the Oregon coast. And so this, of course, is interacting with how the moon makes us feel, as the moon is our mood in astrology. And so the moon is going to be in Pisces, which is a water-ruled sign. This is definitely a more emotional sign. Pisces, it is a feminine, receptive energy. Pisces also very much represents kindness and compassion and all of those more gentle, sort of more feminine energies about receptivity and being available. Kind of like I'm kind of doing this motion here of giving somebody like a hug or allowing somebody to come in and putting your arms around them. That Pisces is that kind of energy. It has that kindness and that compassion. And so we have the opportunity to really connect with this Pisces energy, as the moon is going to be a super moon, extra close to Earth. It could feel energetically even heavier. There's going to be more of everything Pisces, which is emotion and this idea of compassion. And Pisces, as with every sign, it has these the more challenging sort of sides to it. And so Pisces energy is very much linked to addiction and drugs and alcohol. And so around super moons and full moons in Pisces, there can be an going over the top with that addictions, just kind of in general, as Pisces is that really soft energy and can be taken advantage of and can feel very victimized and can be victimized. And so at full moons, we have basically the greatest expression of this energy. But we had a new moon in Pisces back in March. And you can always connect the full moons, which we have one in each sign, a full moon in each sign every year. And we have a new moon in each sign every year also. And so you connect back with the new moon. What were your intentions that you set with that new moon in Pisces back in March? What were the things that you were going to be working with over the next 6 months? That's what we can come to a culmination point here with around this full moon. I mentioned that it's also conjunct with Saturn, and that means that the moon is going to be right over the top of Saturn, like from our vantage point in the sky, and those energies are going to be working with each other. Saturn and the full moon is happening this is taking place. They are conjuncting, coming together at 7 degrees of Pisces. So you can look in your own astrological birth chart and see where 7 degrees of Pisces falls in your chart. Do you have any planets, placements, points, interactions, aspects with other planets in your chart? That is going to be the energy that you personally are working with. And then, of course, where 7 degrees of Pisces, which house that falls in, which of the 12 houses, areas of our life, does that fall in for you? That's going to be the energy that you end up working with. But this is going to be big, and Saturn involved is all about responsibility. Saturn is the planet of responsibility, was the father of Zeus, and this is the father figure who asks when you leave the house, when you're going to be home, how far you're driving, what's the phone number of the place you're going to be at, and who you're going to be hanging out with. Wants to know all of the information, wants to have all of that stuff on the lockdown so that there can be kind of a responsible, real world, realistic feel to whatever Saturn is energetically vibing with. And here it's this full supermoon in Pisces. And so there could be some emotionality, some big feelings around our responsibilities, the reality of some situation, the real world reality of where we're at, where we're headed, and what it is that this full moon is going to be propelling, bringing to a culmination point in our lives. So this could also be an opportunity to take that Pisces kindness, to take that Pisces compassion, that desire to really be receptive. When was the last time that you did something nice for yourself, and not just nice, but kind? We're not talking just about kindness and compassion toward others. Pisces is kind of an internal, a more sort of feminine, a little quieter of an energy. And so this could be involving applying kindness and compassion to ourselves, and really truly taking stock in how we have been treating ourselves and just where we're at with all of that. So That's going to definitely be, and we're already feeling it right now. It's August 29th when I bring this report to you here on the Pacific West Coast. And so we're already feeling this. We've already been in it for a week, coming in and a week going out. And we feel these things sometimes even longer when they really apply in our charts, and we've been working with these themes. 444. 444 here on all my clocks. This is Stacy Dredd, Galactic Ambassador in the cosmic community. I really appreciate you being tuned in. So I mentioned at the start of the show that Uranus did go retrograde on August 28th. And so this is an energy that we can feel more directly as it's happening. Another piece of the puzzle that is energetically pulling us in different directions this week. Uranus is stationing retrograde at 23 degrees of Taurus, and this is going to be a few months in the making, so we have more time to talk about Uranus retrograde, but this is like Uranus represents the future and breakthroughs and innovations and where we're headed. This is a very future-oriented energy. This is electricity. And oh my God, can I just mention right now that I have this little awesome rechargeable lighter. And actually yesterday, right about the time that Uranus was stationing retrograde, I electrocuted myself with that thing for the first time. And I'm telling you, you just cannot make this stuff up. That just hit me, that actually happened to me. And wow, that's really powerful. Uranus represents electricity and electrical impulses and our nervous system and lightning strikes, and things can happen really quickly when Uranus is in play. And so this is an opportunity for us to take a step back with Uranus and make some peace with a lot of the changes that have been taking place, with a lot of the changes that have still yet to be made, the shifts that we've been feeling lately. Retrograde time is a time to kind of let that stuff absorb. And so any new awakenings that you've come to, any shifts in life, this is going to be an opportunity to kind of settle in with that. And then moving into September already, September 3rd, we have Venus stationing direct. And interesting that we have one going retrograde and one coming direct. It's like Uranus and Venus are kind of balancing out the scales here, which is really nice. Venus, we've been working with her retrograde for many months now. She actually stationed retrograde on July 22nd. And this is like she is going to be in that stationary state again. We're going to be feeling her power and the lessons and the things that we have been, moving through during this Venus retrograde when she stations. So Venus represents all of those beautiful things. She is the goddess of love. She represents all of the things in our life: love, relationships, money. Is also a thing that Venus represents. So we might have been moving through some changes within money schemes within our life, and where things are headed for us there. So this is a good point. We are going to be in a really retrograded fashion for basically the entire month of September. Mars is moving strongly forward. Venus is now going to be stationing and starting to pick up her pace and moving forward. Mars and Venus are both personal planets and keep the body moving. Mars does, and Venus can become such a warrior like Mars also. And so that's a good thing, because basically all the rest of the planets are going to be in retrograde. On September 4th, Jupiter stations retrograde in the morning time at 7:11 a.m. And that is going to be, Jupiter Mars dive into the underworld. Jupiter represents all the things that are like good luck and like gifts, and Jupiter also brings in opportunity and gives us an optimistic feel. And so this is when Jupiter has an opportunity to go back and say, hey, have I been too over the top about this or that? What is it in my life that I really want to put my energy towards? And, I'm going to go ahead and do this, have this time to kind of look at this, and then come out of Jupiter will come out of the retrograde having a new sense of, what we truly want to be like moving forward and putting energy on, and what opportunities, we want to dive into to allow that to happen. And so, Jupiter retrograde, again, a few month process. And so we'll be chatting more about that. But like everything retrograde makes the planets all sit still and move very slowly. And so they don't make a lot of aspects to each other, which makes September a little more of a quiet month. As I mentioned, Mars, very, very hot, moving forward, full steam ahead. Mars is our physical body. And so there could be this, like, through the course of September, this feeling of like our body wanting to move forward and do things, but everybody else and all the things in our mind, as Mercury is retrograde still, through almost the whole month of September, everything else is moving really slow. And it's like, hey, why can't I make some forward motion here, or at least feel good about the forward motion that I'm making? And it's because we're kind of our mind and everything else, and the whole sort of ideal is sort of going back and making edits and checking in on efficiency. That's what Virgo season, the season we're in right now, really brings us, is an opportunity to make things more efficient, take stock of the things that we'd like to, again, be spending our precious time on, as Virgo loves having a to-do list. And we all know we need to take time with each of our tasks, but that one of them can't be taking up all of our energy, that we need to disperse that energy out and across. So we have the new moon in Virgo on September 14th. And this is where we get to make these new intentions around Virgo themes. How would we like to use our energies more efficiently? This is also about Virgo themes, which is cleanliness, cleansing, detoxifying, and releasing, and, allowing things to come into natural order. The new moon in Virgo happens at 6:40 in the evening. We'll be feeling that, of course, coming in and going out of that. Virgo's an earth sign, so we have strong earth energy right now. This is a good September 14th, and that week around the new moon in Virgo is a good time to take your shoes off and feel the last of the warm soil and ground before we start losing more of that sun. And Mercury stations direct the following day. So this is really nice. Mercury's been in Virgo, stationing direct at 8 degrees of Virgo. And then Mercury stationing direct, it's going to start moving forward and starting to let things happen, let things flow a little more. The mind, the ideas, the transportation, the communication. And then we have the fall equinox on September 22nd. That happens at 11:50 p.m., so late in the evening. So we'll have all day on the 22nd to celebrate the fall equinox there at the end of September. And again, just a really quiet rest of September because of all the retrograde activity. So anything that we need to be going back and looking at and making sure that things are moving more smoothly and efficiently, September is a great month to do that, especially the first couple of weeks. And enjoy the full moon in Pisces, the blue super moon, so juicy, and Venus stationing direct. And I will be talking to you next week. Peace. Thank you for listening to the Cosmic Community Podcast. More can be found at kpov.org/thecosmiccommunity.